Well, it's always evolving, but is anybody that wants to join in the Ville? The Ville Collaborative at Action here. It's organizations that have an interest in the Ville, that have some ownership in the Ville neighborhood, and that at one time didn't have a mechanism for communicating what they were doing so they could find out what common elements exist across the organizations that they might be able to work together on here to have a more collective impact. We have a fairly wide program base. We have educational programs, tutoring, and life skills. We have a robotics program, and we have our gardening, which is educational and income related and beautification related. So for 2 years we have been running what we refer to as the ClaverWorks Landscaping and Savings Program. It's where youth work, they cut grass, they earn a certain amount, they get half of it in their pocket, the other half goes into savings. If they use that for post-secondary education, they get a 2 times match. It's a very visible program. That's also why for the youth employment program, one big reason that I chose to do landscaping or grass cutting, because the people would see the activity. They'd see the youth from the neighborhood working in these properties. And that in turn requires supervision, so then we start bringing in neighborhood individuals with the necessary skill level to do that site supervision. So it starts kind of growing. Certainly there's the effort of gardening, but then there's the instructional element on what's nutritious to eat and why and how can you grow it. And then there's how do you maintain a garden. And then, well, how do you maintain any green space? So there's this chain that starts to occur through these different employment opportunities, and you work your way up and through them and hopefully get in a position here where either you're supervising a program someday or you're certainly not in one anymore. You learn from it and you've stayed in school and you go out and get a real job, if you will. For 2 years that program worked really well. We had one client that supplied a lot of properties for us to maintain, and that was the driving engine for that. Last year the client wasn't there anymore. They didn't have the budget to hire these people, to hire us, I guess is a better way of saying it. So what we found out was, I mentioned before, Northside Youth and Senior Services, they had received a grant to do a youth program in the summer, an 8-week program. And so we talked to them, and what we wound up doing was teaching landscaping and gardening inside of our gardens here, and hiring 1 or 2 people to help supervise that. So it's interesting because at the end of the summer, the amount of earned income opportunities that we had were the same as they were the previous 2 years. They were just more spread out. But one thing kind of feeds another, and that's kind of the joy of it all, the interaction that you get from those programs working together. There are a lot of times when you're wondering if you're doing anything worthwhile, and I realized that a lot of these youth are not so young anymore. They're 21, 22 years of age, and I knew them when they were 8. And they are different individuals and quite responsible individuals, and it's exciting to see them having worked in our programs and matured and actually gone beyond the programs now.